Hi everyone. So in this video, we will make one simple web application using whatever we had learned till now. So we will use model, prompt template, and output parser along with Flask HTTP server to create one simple application. So first of all, I will create new file here. Let's call it backend.py. And first thing I will import .env. Import load.env and then call this load.env, and then we need prompt template and LLM model. So from LangChain.llms import OpenAI, and from LangChain.prompts import prompt template, and we also need output parser. So from LangChain.output parsers import comma separated list output parser. Now let's instantiate this OpenAI LLM. Temperature I will pass as 1, and model name it will automatically take DaVinci 3, or let's put that here. So model name is DaVinci 3. Now we need prompt template equals prompt template, and our template is to create 3.com domains for the niche past. So you are SEO expert having 10 years of experience. Suggest me 3.com domain names for my blog in niche, and then I will pass this niche placeholder. It's getting long, so let's make this as multi-line string. Just make 3 SEO optimized.com names. Now we need to put this placeholder in list of input variables. Our variable is niche, and then we need to format this template to create a string. So query equals prompt template dot format, and we'll pass niche as, for now let's hard code as cloud computing, and this query will be pure string, but this will put this niche in this placeholder. Now let's pass this query to our model and print the result. I will run it. So we got three domain names, but these are not in the format I want, because I want it to be in form of list, so that it can be passed as passed to front end, and we can iterate on list to show data in front end. So for that, let's use output parser. So I will create output parser from comma separated class, and then we need format instruction, and we can get format instructions from output parser dot get format instructions class. You can find all this data in this page in list output parsers documentation from LangChain. So now we have instructions. We can attach that instruction to our template, and after attaching it, we need to pass it as partial variable. Partial variable will be dictionary, and here we need to pass format template, this format instruction and format instruction. One thing you should be careful is that uh, the key of this dictionary should be this string, and value should be actual value, which we got from this output parser. And we are passing as partial variable because we already know value of this format instruction, and this niche we do not know already at this point of code. That's why we are passing it as input variable. Now we need to modify our result line as output parser dot parse. So whatever output we get from LLM, we will pass it as comma separated value. Now let's run and see the output. It says check your mismatched. Okay, here it should be partial variables, not partial variable. Okay, so now it gave output in our desired form, which is a list of strings. Now let's make this code, this part, this let's put this part in function. So I will just copy it and create one function, domain name generator, and domain name generator will accept parameter as niche, and just paste it. So here we have output parser, LLM, prompt template. Here while formatting prompt template, now we will pass whatever we receive in parameter, and we will print result, and then we will return the result, not result, response, res. So now our backend or our LLM logic is done. Let's create another file name server.py. Here we will keep our server logic, mainly Flask. So before that, I will install Flask. So pnv install Flask. So Flask is a lightweight web server in Python, and you can just check it out in this Geek for Geek tutorial. So first thing we are going to do is create one API, Get API. That Get API will accept niche as form of query strings, and then we will read those string in Get method, and then we will call this backend function, this domain name generator function, and output we will return back to the request. So from Flask, it's still giving errors. Okay, let's ignore. It should be from Flask, import Flask, and then we will create instance of this Flask class, and here we will pass name in. So if we run server.py directly, name will be main, and we will do if name equals to main, then we will run the app. Now let's create one route. So @app dot route, and it should be for, let's create hello route. I will create one function here, def hello. Now return hello world. Now if we run this code, then app.run will start our server, and if we call this slash API, we hit this URL in browser, then we should get hello world in response. Let's see if it works. I will copy it and go to browser. Let's set it for it's the only home page is saying that this route is not defined. Now I will do hello. So for hello route, it's returning hello world. By default, all methods are get. Here we can pass another argument as method equals to post, but for now we need get only. Now let's modify it as chat, and from Flask we need a request, and yeah, the request only, and we also need just only file. So first we print request dot args. So what we are doing is that now in this chat route, whatever I will pass, suppose I pass input equals to test, and when I hit this route for chat, it says, okay, I need to save this, and again I will hit it. Still it says 404. Let's restart it. So basically it should recognize this chat route, and whatever argument we pass from browser, it should print in our console. For some reason yeah, it printed this thing. It printed input as test. So what we can do, instead of printing all args, we can do input, get, and get as input. Now if I refresh, it's not detecting changes. So again, I need to restart. Okay, so now whatever, this is our URL of our web server, and whatever we pass as query string like input equals to text, that thing is reflecting here in our backend. Now, based on this, let's from backend, the file which we created, I will import this function domain name generator. Now, what we will do, since we have this input from frontend or from browser, so I will store as input equals to input, or I will store it as niche equals to this, and then I will do response equals to domain name generator, and here I will pass niche, and while returning I will return disonify response. I will save it and restart the server. So now if I pass input equals to AWS, or this time let's pass cloud computing only, or cloud. So here we in that domain name generator function, we got these three domain names, and here that data got converted into JSON because of this JSONify, and we are able to see that data here. So our API is now working successfully. Let's create front end for this. So for that, we need to import render template from Flask, and we need to create one more route. So now this time we want, if someone goes to this URL without /chat, then they should see one web page, and in that web page we have one text field and one button. So when user can submit input through that text field, and then that on submission, frontend will call this API, and then take the response and show the data in frontend again. So I will create route. This time route will be slash means home, and then I will create one function as this function I will rename as chat only. This function I will call home, and here I will return render template home.html. So now we are rendering home.html at this path. So let's create home.html. So to create home.html, we can't create here. First, we need to create templates folder. And at there I can create home.html. So now if someone comes to this path, then this template will be, it will call this render template method, and it will try to find this home.html file, and whatever we have here, that content will be served to user. Let's add some boilerplate code here, and go to our browser. This time instead of chat, I will copy it for later use. And this time instead of chat, I will hit home. It's still saying not found because for some reason server is not detecting changes. So I need to restart it. On restart it should work. Now if I go here and hit it, we are getting our home page, whatever we put in home.html. Now let's add one text field and one button. For that, I will create one div as container. There I will create input with id as input, and I need one button. So button, and then submit data or create, not create, generate domains, and on click of this button, I want to call one function. So on click, I will call LLM. This function I will create, and to display our results, I will create one more div as for that I will keep id as output. By default, it's empty. Now let's add some script, JavaScript here. So first I will create this call LLM function. It will not take anything as argument. I will take input as input equals to document dot get element by id, and here I will take id as input. So I'm targeting this input, and instead of input I will create value or niche. That's better. So I will target that input, and then input field or text field, and then I will take out its value. Now let's call it const which equals to. Now I want to target this one also, so I will just copy and let's name it as output area equals to, here it's output. Now when someone calls this function call LM, as soon as someone click on that submit button, I want output area to show as in HTML. I want to show as loading, and now I will construct the URL. So our APIs, I will copy this thing, we'll paste it here, and our API is localhost, and this port is 5000. API route is chat, and input equals, we are using string literals, and here I want niche. Now, problem with directly passing this niche is that if there are spaces like cloud space computing, then it might not work. So for that, I will do as encode URI components method and then pass this niche. So what it will do is that if something is like hello world, then it will put %20 between and make it like this, make it URL friendly. Now we have API. Let's call this API now. So for that, I will use fetch API. Once API is returned, then response, and then response.json. Then we have data, and then I want to print or console log that data. Let's test this part, if it's working or not. So I will go to browser, home page, open inspect tool using F12 or by right clicking and selecting inspect. Go to home. Still it's showing old things. For that, I need to restart server again and run it again. Now it's showing this text field and button. So let's keep console open. Here I will pass cloud and generate domain. It says get element by ID is not a function. Okay. Let's see what's wrong in our script. It says document.get element by ID is invalid. Let's Google out what's problem here. Get property. Okay. So this document should be small case, not capital case. Again, I need to save it, stop it, and restart the server. This time it should work. So I hit it. Here I will pass cloud and generate domain. So if I go to network tab, then this call happened, and chat is a route, and input is cloud. Let's call cloud computing. So if there is cloud computing, then path will be modified as just here it's not showing, but it will be modified as cloud with %20 computing. Now when we do this call, at this time here we should see loading. That part is not working. Let's see why. So we had written output area dot inner HTML, and this time document is small here. We are getting ID of output. It's also correct. Let's see output area dot inner HTML equals to loading. So problem was only S was capital, or HTML should be capital. Now, once our response is rendered, once our response is fetched, instead of logging to console, I want to show it in output area. So output area dot inner HTML equals whatever response we are receiving. So we are receiving data. I will convert this data to string, and then we'll show this data. Let's start web server again. Now if I call cloud computing, then it's loading and we got our response. Now, instead of showing it like this, let's show it in list form. So here I will make it like this and this. Now we will iterate through this data dot for each, and here we will get domain. So it's like saying in Python for item in items. Similarly, here we have, when we do data dot for each, then we iterate through each element of list, and this domain will be each time on each iteration, this domain will be that particular value. So domain, and here I will create list item equals to document dot create element, and then element will be list element. Before that, let's make our output this thing as empty, so that whatever we load now, this loading gets removed first. Now output area dot append, and we will pass list item. Also in list item, we will list item dot text, or it should be inner HTML equals this domain name, and then we will append this item. Let's see if it's working properly. So I will stop the server and again start it. And I will pass quantum computing, and let's see, it's loading, and then it came. Now we can add style also here by using style tag. So I will tag container, and First thing we want is its fits at 720p x and margin as auto. Background color I want as aqua. Similarly, we can target others like for output area, we can change background color to little bit different, maybe this one. Also in container, let's keep text align as center. Now let's restart. So we have this, these two should come in different line. Here I will insert one BR tag. Now let's call coffee. It says loading, and then it gave list of 3 domain names. So yeah, that's how we can create a simple LLM based web app using Flask as backend and LangChain for doing actual calls to OpenAI. To just review what we had done, first we created this function which make calls to LLM and fetch data from there, and then we created this Flask web server. Here we created 2 routes. This is for home route and this is for chat route, where we will receive input from user and pass this to our backend domain name generator function. Once we get response from there, we will JSONify it. It's equals to json.dumps, and then we will send this response to back to the front end. And then we saw how we can create simple web page using JavaScript. So we used fetch to do API calls and do DOM manipulation to so our output in this in form of list. So yeah, that's for this tutorial. Thanks for watching.